Hannah and I'm an Outreach and Widening Participation Officer and I work at the University of Salford, and I'm going to be talking to you about my experience of higher education. So for me and many of my college friends, it was basically go and get a job or go to university, and I had no idea what job I wanted to do. All my friends were going to university, and at college it was very much seen as the dumb thing to do to go to university. So I knew that by going to university I wouldn't have to think about getting a job for another 3 years, so I was like, yeah, why not? It seems like the right thing to do. But on a serious note, I did kind of know that getting a degree would open up many doors for me as well in terms of careers, and I was kind of hoping as well that whilst I might not get a job that's relevant to my degree, that perhaps on the way I would figure out what kind of job might suit me and maybe an area that I could go and work into, which did end up happening. So I'll explain why a little bit later on why that happened. So for me, it might sound a bit excessive to others, but I went on a lot of open days. I think I went to 11 different institutions. My poor dad was driving me up and down the country, went as far down south as like Birmingham, and then went up to like Newcastle. But for me it was really important, and I think it still is the best way to go and see whether an institution is right for you. And even though I went on like so many, it was for me a really good way for me to get like a idea of what studying at a place was like, what the location was like, what the campus was like, the city, what the course tutors were like. And then speaking to current students was really important, because obviously they know what's best really in terms of like what the place is like, and they can provide like that feedback. Bit of a funny story, I actually really wanted to do biology at university, but I was really bad at it, so I couldn't carry it on into my second year. So it was a bit of a like, oh god, what should I study? And I decided to, my plan B was kind of like studying history. I was studying medieval history at A-level at the time. I studied it at GCSE, and I was a bit of a history geek in that I loved watching history documentaries, so I was like, yeah, why not? And I knew as well that having a history degree would be really good in terms of opening many doors for me, because there was just so much out there. Like, people would say to me like, yeah, doing a history degree is really good because of like all the skills that you gain from doing that degree. So I was like, this is going to help me get a job afterwards as well. I don't think I can really pick any kind of what my favourite experience was, because I just loved university. Like, I loved the city that I lived in. There was just so much to do. It had a really good like nightlife. There was lots of like different things to do for culture. There's always stuff going on, like always stuff going on, and I met loads of really good friends for life as well. And I hate the cliche, but it's true, and I still like speak to them and see them now, even though I graduated like 5 years ago. I think in terms of specific skills though, I would say probably presenting is quite a big one. So in second year of uni, I was in a group project and we had to present a certain topic area. So it was the suffragettes and the Boer War, and we had to do a presentation in front of my classmates. And even though there was only around 20 people probably in that class, it was so daunting because everyone knew me, and I was like, remember thinking, oh my god, this is horrible. I felt so nervous, but once I did it, it was absolutely fine. And the fact now that I can speak in front of like 100, 200 students, like, doesn't faze me at all. Like, so I think that's something really important that I picked up from doing my degree. But open days, please do go and look at them. It was kind of scary speaking to so many people when I went to uni who didn't go on the open days, and then they was a bit annoyed at how the course was, and I was like, well, you know, if you maybe went for yourself, you might have like seen that a bit more. So definitely go to open days. Number two, make sure that, you know, you have like a really good think about like what course it is you want to do, and don't just kind of like rush into it either. And I rushed into it. I went to university, a different one, and then I dropped out after a few months because I just don't think I was ready. I think I needed a break from education. So if you want to have that break, if it's a year going travelling, work, or even like a 5-year break before you go into university, university isn't going anywhere. So just have that break. Don't feel pressured to go straight to university like after college. And then finally, number 3, have a think about what job it is you actually want to do. So that way you can kind of like work backwards and figure out what it is you need to get there. So if you look at like a certain job, do you actually need to go into higher education for that job? And if you do, what A levels or BTEC or any other qualifications do you need to do that degree? I think that way you can try and set out a bit of a clear path as well for yourself. But also, if you have no idea what you want to do, don't worry about it. I had no idea what I wanted to do. It worked out well for me. So don't put too much pressure on yourself to have it all figured out. Just pick something that you really enjoy, and I think, and a day, you'll sail through those 3 or 4 years of your degree.